gives me great pleasure to introduce you to Emma Greegan, who's talking to me all the way from Australia. How's it going there?
Hello. Yeah,
It's
great to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
it's an absolute pleasure, and I'm really pleased about this one because this is my first French horn interview. So this is great. Um, And I guess we should set the scene for our viewers and listeners out there, and just explain a little bit about whereabouts you are in Australia, and why you're actually in Adelaide.
Yeah. I'm play tutti horn, low horn, second and fourth horn in the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra, and Adelaide is the capital city of the state of South Australia. So we're kind of wedged right in the middle, down the bottom there. And yeah, so this is the state orchestra down here, and I've been working here since 2015. So I was originally from Brisbane up north in the tropics, but I moved down here for my job. It's a wonderful orchestra, it's a wonderful job, and yeah, I've been really happy here, so have settled here, and yeah.
Excellent. Okay, good. So question number two is, what inspired you to choose and stick with your instrument, that being the French horn?
I started playing the horn when I was 8 years old, so very, very young. I actually, quite strangely, hadn't played anything before that, but I really loved music, and was very, very lucky. I came through a really, really good public school education system with really, really good music education, and they needed a horn player. So yeah, there I was. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just fell in love with it from basically day one. So and I was very lucky. I had fantastic teachers all along the way who were really supportive. And yeah, not long after that, I sort of thought, wouldn't it be great to do this for a career? So, with that support from all of my teachers and, great education along the way, like I was really lucky to actually be able to do that. So yeah, I feel very blessed to have had that.
That's fabulous. Yeah. So no singing, no piano playing, straight on to horn, age 8.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I did a bit of singing like in the school choir, but definitely no piano. I'm a terrible piano player. So yeah, basically can't do anything else. So
Sound exactly like me. Good. Okay. Right. So no, that's excellent. And so, as a French horn player in the orchestra, is there an event that you feel transitioned you in a way from thinking like a student to thinking like a professional player? It might have been a couple of things. It might have been just one thing that defined that and made you think differently.
yeah, I when I was at university, I was really lucky to be able to do a bit of casual playing with the Queensland Symphony Orchestra, which is the state orchestra up in Queensland, Brisbane. And yeah, I guess I still felt like a student then because I was coming in, being mentored by the players there who were amazing. But then, I guess you leave university, and for me, that was kind of a time where I had to kind of go, well, you have to make this decision for yourself about, what is this going to be for you? So I think actually in some ways graduating was kind of that for me, like, leaving the nest a little bit and not having your teacher there to support you every single day was a really big shift for me. And sort of going, okay, well, either you're going to have to learn to solve these problems yourself or learn to, grow in your own way, or this is not going to progress. So I think for me, it was actually a mindset more than an event. It was, kind of this mindset of, okay, I'm going to make a decision today. Like if I treat myself like a professional, then other people are going to start treating me like a professional too. And I think that's, for some people, that is a specific event or a concert, that can be inspired by, playing really well in a concert or something. But yeah, for me, I think it was actually losing that sort of, home connection with my teachers and things like that, and trying to fly on my own. And I think if you do that in a way that's positive and, growth focused, I think it can make a really big difference in how you kind of improve as a player and, yeah, focus on your own growth and stuff like that. So yeah, I think graduating really was the thing for me to push me out of the
Good.
nest.
Yeah. And I guess so in the UK, generally, if you go to conservatoire, then you'd probably do a 4-year degree. Whilst if you go to study music at a university, then it's a 3-year course. And I mean, there's various differences in the States in terms of whether it be that amount of time, their system slightly differently. I guess the Australian system's quite similar to the UK.
It's similar. We have actually different universities are different, but that's interesting you say that. I graduated with a third year exit. We have an optional third year exit here, and it's generally recommended you don't take it because, of course, if you want to go and study overseas, sometimes it's not, recognized. But I kind of got to this point where I felt a bit overwhelmed and I thought, I'm going to just go off and do my own thing. And I was really lucky. I got a contract with an orchestra then. And so that for me was kind of like, I can actually do this. And then that gave me a little bit of insight into actually, well, I'm sort of 80% of the way there, but I've still got a lot of work to do. And I went back and did my 4th year a year later. So it kind of gave me this work experience on the job, and then to go back. And then that final year was really focused for me. Like I just went in and I had like, these are the problems I have and these are the things I need to fix. And so those lessons were kind of driven by me a little bit more.
Yeah.
And sort of that, I got a lot out of that process to actually take a break and come back. And I think that also helped me really transition a lot to kind of having my own identity as a player as well. So yeah.
That sounds really sensible. There's actually quite a few players that will do that, will sort of study for a few years and then think, actually, it's the experience I need then, and then go back. And that's not unusual. Well, is it unusual? It probably is unusual, but it's not uncommon. There's quite a few players I know in orchestras particularly that have done that. So no, I think that's great. I was talking to somebody this afternoon who was a mature student and started studying when they were 40 to become a professional musician.
Amazing.
And so it just goes to show there's lots of different routes into doing what people love doing, which is fabulous. Which brings me neatly onto my next question. So, do you see yourself, bearing in mind, if you're a musician, so to speak, would you see yourself as primarily a performer? Would you see yourself as a teacher, as an educator? Where would you sort of put yourself? And is it all of the above?
Yeah, in many ways, yeah. I think there is a real risk that we pigeonhole ourselves as musicians into this one thing. I think, certainly I earn my living from performing. I'm very lucky to be in that position that, my income comes from playing in a major symphony orchestra. But at the same time, I don't see that as being my only value as a musician or my only role as a musician. Actually, I do teach a little bit, but actually primarily my outside of the orchestra, I work a lot with amateur adult players and community work. So that's sort of where my passion is. I did my PhD on how to support community and amateur players. So that's kind of where I think there's a lot of, I think I would love to be able to reframe that idea of a musician being, it doesn't actually matter whether you're a professional or not. It's whether you use music to give to others and to, communicate with others. I think that's actually more important than those terms. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely. I think a performer, but also hopefully, an advocate for amateur players as well, and to try and, help all people, connect through music rather than just professional players. So yeah, that's probably where my additional area is on the side. So yeah.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah. And then finally, the products that you use, so whether that be mutes, mouthpieces, the instrument, for instance, how do they affect your ability to continue to grow as a musician? Are you one of those people that might sort of change mouthpiece every 5 years, or you've only changed once, or you change every week? And because different people do different things, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not a gearhead in any way. The thought of it just makes me stressed out. And actually the whole story with this Alliance mouthpiece I've been playing was, I was just literally asked to try it. So I wasn't looking to switch at all. I played the same mouthpiece since I was a kid. I just, been playing the same thing and tried it. And I thought, okay, objectively, like this is actually sounds better and I'm just going to swap. So I kind of, I sort of don't really think about sort of the, I don't know all the kind of inner, measurements and all those kinds of things. I'm not good with that sort of stuff, but I do have a really clear idea in my head of what sound I want and, what I want to be able to do. So I think I'm very driven by that. And yeah, if I'm given an opportunity to try something different or, and I feel like it genuinely makes a difference, then I'll jump in an instant, like if it makes a difference. So yeah, that's been really great. I bought an Alexander. I played Alexander horns for a long time, and then I switched to Paxman for about 6 years, which was awesome. But that horn was just a bit on its last legs. So it was a really old one, and it's been through a few restorations. So I've gone back to an Alexander, and then this mouthpiece, the Alliance mouthpiece, is working with that really well. So I'm really happy with that. So yeah, I think those things for me are just always like, if you have a really clear concept of sound in your head of what you're trying to achieve, then you know, your gear should be helping you do that, you know. And I think to some extent, of course, like if you're a good player, like you can do whatever you want on any instrument, but the gear is going to be able to help you do that better. And I think, you know, why work harder when you could be using that energy to, you know, invest it in other places, like, you know, musically and artistically and all sorts of other areas. So for me, that's what that, you know, serves is your artistic vision and, like, you know, what you want to sound like. I think that comes first, and then the gear is just there to serve that. So yeah, I'm really happy, actually. I feel like that's improved a lot for me in the last couple of years. Like I feel like all of that's kind of started coming together for me a little bit more. So yeah,
That's
very
good.
exciting.
That's your the way you've explained that is perfect, because our tagline for this year, 2023, is "Make a sound choice with Denis Wick products," and so
Yeah, awesome.
that's perfect. So no, that wraps up very, very neatly. It's a pleasure to meet you and to talk to you. And it sounds like it would be really interesting to talk to you about some of the other topics, for instance, for your PhD when we do an education focus in a few months. But in the meantime,
Yeah.
thank you very much for your time, and it's been a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.